is we're gonna roll the thing, Nick. We're gonna roll the thing. Are you ready to roll the thing?
I'm confused. What thing?
This thing right here. And on that note, I've got nothing to say, Nick. This is a really interesting place we've put ourselves in, but I've got a lot of all the times to be live. I got a loud ass airplane flying overhead right now. I don't know if you can hear it over my talking.
Slightly.
It'd be great if you didn't, but now that you've confirmed it, it's all right. It's there. It's
but
part of
gone.
it.
It's now gone.
It's part of it, and that's okay. Guys, welcome to Nerdentials, your weekly dose of the nerdy essentials covering film, TV, video games, and comic books. I'm your host, Joe Tweeden, and joining me in this nerdy escapade today is the one and only Nick Thomas. Welcome, sir.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here again, like I usually am when we do these.
You are currently, and I'll give this, if we had an award system, I'd say presently you won the statue that calls you the most faithful, or at least the most available. Teach his own, whatever that looks like. We'll call it available. And just, you know what? And that's not a bad thing at all.
I'm married, man. I'm not available.
Available from a nerdy friendship standpoint. Can I say that? Is that safe?
We'll go with that.
All right. Tonight, we're going to offer you up a little bit of traditional Nerdentials variety. We're going to the best of our ability, we're going to cover 3 solid pop culture topics that we usually promise, especially in the intro and more often than not in any given episode. Guys, movies, TV, and video games, like that's kind of like the Triforce, if you will. Legend of Zelda reference. The 3 topic nerd scope that we try to cover here tonight. So we're going to do our best to do that. Guys, we're going to hit a film or 2, a TV show or so, and some gaming. That being said, guys, it's time to jump into Movie Matters. Guys, welcome to Movie Matters. We're talking Movie Matters right now, and guys, due to scheduling, we have a few nerds on our crew. Next week we're gonna cover a few big titles, but for right now, I've got Nick, who's pretty active in the streaming world, and I'm gonna help him facilitate a couple of film reviews for you guys. That being said, I'm gonna toss it over to Nick and see what he has to talk about tonight. Mr. Nick, what is your first film for tonight?
Our first film. You know what? It's actually one that was interesting, and I didn't know how I was going to think about it until I watched it, and then I loved it. Let's talk about Nobody.
Perfect. I'll help you, Nick, by listing off who's involved and the premise, and then I want to get just your raw thoughts, sir. This is definitely something I'm curious about and something I'm hoping you recommend. But we got a film released this year, 2021, hour and a half, action, crime, drama, thriller, if you will. It's directed by Elia Nashuler. Apologize for the pronunciation. I'm horrible with the names. It stars Bob Odenkirk. And Nick, I think we're familiar with him from both the classic 2008 Breaking Bad and the spin-off series Better Call Saul, correct?
Correct. And Ilya Nashula is actually a director we've seen in little oddball movies like Hardcore Henry.
That was an FPS, like first person perspective action movie.
Oh yeah,
that he took to the next level.
I loved it.
Yeah, okay, and then he's done some other obscure stuff, but like that's like the big one there, Hardcore Henry. And if I am not wrong, we've got a couple other actors, Connie Nielsen, who played.
Yeah, Ilya was the director. Sorry,
that's what I meant. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I was making a transition on the director for sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
We got Bob Odenkirk playing Hutch. We've got Connie Nielsen playing Becca Mansell. Recently, she was in Wonder Woman, both films, actually. And we got Christopher Lloyd making an appearance. Dude, I'm going to kind of like throw this back at you. Sorry, I'm just kind of like looking at the casting here, but I think the overall premise, correct me if I'm wrong, you can elaborate after this, but it looks like it's about a bystander who intervenes to help a woman being harassed by a group of men, and he becomes the target of a vengeful drug lord. Does that kind of sum up the whole film?
It does, but there's more reason behind it. And
go like spoiler free ish as best you can, but like give us the impact that you felt watching this film.
They've been doing a lot of movies where they take the person you don't expect to be complete badass and make them badass. And this one definitely fit that bill. Bob Odenkirk channels movies like John Wick, Red, Taken, things like that, where the people come after this person not realizing who they messed with. And it's weird to think that Bob Odenkirk, Better Call Saul, is this person that everyone should fear. But
I love the idea though, dude.
Oh,
like
dude, yeah.
It makes me want to watch it.
And I could honestly say, watching his other movies before this and then coming into this, I'm thinking to myself, no, this is going to be funny. Something's going to happen. He's going to get like attacked and it's just going to be random, like happenstance that he gets his way out of it. No. Bob Odenkirk, I know you probably don't watch this, but if you ever did watch a podcast, sir, newfound respect for you. Freaking phenomenal and terrifyingly awesome.
Dude, I love that. That's really unique because, like, I mean, I don't know. I feel I don't have a good scope of like the general public perspective, but he played kind of a low level lawyer in the Bryan Cranston 6-season series Breaking Bad. And then there's a spin-off series, Better Call Saul, which, to be fair, has gotten a lot of acclaim. Like that series has actually done really well. So if you haven't seen either of those shows, I think it's fair to say a lot of people don't know how good Odenkirk is.
And he's a great actor.
And you're saying he kind of uh, excels in this particular role, at least for this film. It surprised you, would you say?
Oh, he did surprisingly well in this, and I would never expected it from him. But I actually want to go through and find some of his older movies that he was in because he was great in this. And I hope we get more of Nobody. The character he portrayed in here was insane. And I loved it. Not only that, you get the little points of, because it's Bob Odenkirk. They've made a point to put in very intended points that were intentionally meant to be so awkward it was funny.
Right.
Because yeah, he looks like a pencil pusher type dude and doing all these things, just like an accountant type person. But then he goes off and yeah. No, and but I can honestly say the second half of this movie, when you watch it, is stolen by Christopher Lloyd.
Dude, like, you're not wrong. And like, when I look at his film history, it's very sporadic. It's very small role, B-list. It's very cameos here, cameos there. A lot of short-term TV appearances in dramas and stuff. But like this recent film, I think really credits the theater version of Bob Odenkirk as far as like what we could potentially see him be doing, outside of this. That excites me, dude. And this is one film I'll own up to our audience and say it's one I didn't check out yet. But Nick, give us a rating, 1 to 10. Should I check this out? Because I haven't. I'm like the audience. I don't know.
I need to preface this. I'm a big fan of the movies like Taken, Red, John Wick, that kind of vengeful violence and stuff. I get a kick out of those type of movies. I love them.
Same, dude.
This, to me, was on par with John Wick. I put this at a 9 out of 10.
Damn, dude. Liam Neeson and Keanu Reeves, huh?
Oh, yeah.
That's what you're saying. 9 out of 10? All right. I'll say at the very least, guys, like, we try our hardest to, like, watch blockbuster films together so that we can give kind of a balanced rating. But I trust Nick, I would say 99% of the time when it comes to like his perspective on any kind of film in general, especially those from niche genres or angles. And so at the very least, guys, I'll say heed what Nick says here. I'm going to, on his recommendation, I will check it out, and in a future episode here, I will come back and confirm.
And if you look at IMDb,
my thoughts,
they've had 47,000 viewers rate this, and it's still got a 7.5. So that's pretty high for IMDb, actually.
Oh yeah, dude, and that's not any. Like, I would never not question you on a personal level, but like, yeah, when you throw numbers at that, or when you throw numbers out like that about just the public reception, it seems to have done really well. And during a time like this, when movie theater releases are not a normal thing right now, like, that's still impressive. Oh, yeah. So, you say 9 out of 10, Nick? That's your final
9 out of 10
stamp of approval or recommendation. Real quick, did you have a second one in the film genre you wanted to throw out there?
Yes. Actually, this next movie I'm going to talk about was another one I'd seen a lot of previews on, and kept coming across my feed for previews and stuff. So I thought I'd give it a try. Me and the wife sat down and watched it, and we actually really enjoyed it. And it's based off a book series that I'm hoping they expand upon and actually do more of the book series as a movie. This is one they've been working on, I want to say, since 2016, 2017. This is a movie called Chaos Walking,
Right.
starring Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley.
I didn't know this was like a more extensive series outside of this, dude. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So, why don't you give us the premise, or the? I can read it unless you want to, short, long, whichever you want to do, dude.
Oh,
what do you think?
Yeah, I have the synopsis right in front of me, actually.
All right, go ahead.
Two unlikely companions embark on a perilous adventure through the badlands of an unexplored planet as they try to escape the dangerous and disorienting reality where all inner thoughts are seen and heard by everyone.
Ooh, that's messed up. That's like psychological, dude.
Yeah, no, this is based in the future, where Earth has become uninhabitable, and people have stretched out to try to find other places to live. And this takes place on a planet that they come to, and they find out once they get there that it's weird. Everyone's thoughts are projected. So that inner monologue you have with yourself, should I do this or should I not? Or, wow, that's awesome. Or, wow, she's pretty. Everything is just displayed out for the open for everyone to hear.
It's like the Mel Gibson film What Women Want, amplified in a futuristic setting.
Yes, but it's not just heard. Like you could be thinking something and someone will see it, what you're thinking, because it like displays a bubble above your head type thing.
Oh my goodness. It's according to this description, it says they're afflicted by the noise.
The noise is what they call it, yeah.
Huh.
And the crazy thing about it, in the previews, you find out before the movie, so it's not really a spoiler here, the ones that are afflicted by it are only the men.
Man, it's like a sci-fi twist on What Women Want.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of is. Not kind of is. But go on, dude. Go on.
Like I said, this stars Tom Holland, Daisy Ridley, and Mads Mikkelsen.
I love me some Mads Mikkelsen, man.
Who doesn't? Mads is awesome. But the futuristic world here, all the different things they have to go through, it's definitely meant to be kind of like the young adult thing, like the series like Divergent and all those different ones.
Yeah.
Maze Runner and all that. So it's in that same vein because that's what the book was originally sold to.
It says this is from the director of The Bourne Identity and Edge of Tomorrow, which is that Tom Cruise time travel thriller.
Yeah, Doug Liman. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's based on the best-selling novel The Knife of Never Letting Go. So I'm just curious. You giving us the premise, and they're comparing it to some of these. Is there some I don't know? Is there some additional like time travel situations with this based on that, or is it just
The Knife of Never Letting Go? It's not about time travel.
Okay.
It's all based here. What it's talking about with the Never Let Go is the thoughts being projected and all that, and it's just the craziness of humanity fighting now that you can't hide behind your lies.
Dude, that's really intense and interesting.
The movie was very interesting. The chemistry between the two is actually surprising. It was interesting seeing Tom Holland in something other than being Spider-Man. It's a cool world that they're trying to make with this movie, and like I said, I really do hope that they dig into the series a little bit more and expand upon it, because where it leaves off at the end of the movie could very well easily go into the rest of the books. You didn't have to wonder what the character was thinking, which was great, because it's always there. Because sometimes you're watching a movie and you're like, what are they doing? Why? And before they're doing it, they're second guessing themselves. Should I do this? And you're hearing it, you're seeing it. It's
right.
And there's other cool things they do with this, the noise. it's definitely a new way of looking at the thought process of people in movies. And I thought it was really cool that they did that, and that the way they decided to portray it from the book to here was also very interesting and cool. But yeah, no, I can only hope that they'll continue the series. I don't know if they've signed on for more because it took so long for them to actually finish the first one. They just ran into a whole bunch of issues back and forth where they could actually finish the movie. But no, I would give this probably a 7 out of 10. Not as high praise as the other one, just for the sheer fact that it felt like they left a few things out that could have been better for the story.
Right.
And they didn't quite explain everything completely to you. But that could also be because they're planning on making more movies that are going to explain everything.
Right. That makes sense, dude. Whew. Shoot, dude. Like, I will take that on a high recommendation from you. Something I haven't watched yet for sure. And I kind of want to throw this out there during our Friday episode that we have been checking out the big hits. And due to scheduling, we're looking forward to getting more of our nerd core cast joining us for that. So real quick though, before we switch gears or anything, Nick, did you have one more on this, or should we jump over to TV Talk?
I didn't have any movies more on that other than the big ones. We want to wait for the others.
Yeah, so just as a teaser, guys, next week we are, as best we can, planning on fully covering Kong versus Godzilla and Mortal Kombat, the newest releases on HBO Max, aka newest releases for 2021 cinema. So those are next on our list. We've watched them, but we're waiting on a couple nerd hosts to join us for said cast. That will happen no matter what next week. Promises on that. Nick, should we shift over to TV Talk? Are we good for that one?
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, guys, this is the Variety Hour, so we'll talk about teasers for next week, but you know what? Without further ado, let's jump into TV Talk. Guys, welcome to TV Talk. In tonight's cast, we're going to allow our co-host, Mr. Nick, to review a show that I haven't jumped into yet. I know. Usually that we're saving the big ones for next week. We do have a huge TV show to cover next week, but Nick did skim the webs and the streaming services and found a gem that I'm going to try to get him to talk me into checking out. So that being said, sir, let me throw it over to you for TV Talk. What have we seen lately?
Yeah, on NBC, they have a new show. So if you guys want to watch it on streaming service, that'd be Peacock.
Peacock! I know, it's a hard time not making fun of that.
Yeah, no. But no, one
There's
of the
been
new
some
shows
stuff on there.
Yeah, one of the new shows they recently came out with. And if you don't want to watch it on the Peacock or NBC, it's actually streaming on Hulu too.
Holy snap! Multiple options. Whoa.
Yep.
Whew.
But the show I am talking about is NBC's Debris.
Ooh. Go on.
Debris is, if you're one of those people that likes those wonderful science fiction style investigative shows. If you like shows like X-Files, a few years ago, one that I really enjoyed was Fringe.
Ooh, that was a good one. Yeah.
Different shows like that. This one is right up that alley. Debris is a show about two agents from two different continents and two different mindsets that must work together to investigate when wreckage from a destroyed alien spacecraft comes to Earth, and the pieces have mysterious and sometimes dangerous effects on mankind.
Ooh.
So you find out that these two actors, the two agents from the two different organizations, one's from I think it's MI6, and then the other's from the FBI.
Makes sense.
Yeah, they have a joint task force that's working together to find and collect and neutralize these debris items to keep them from having effect on people. If you've watched the previews on it, there are previews on TV showing this TV series that show like people flying, floating, teleporting, stuff like this. The alien spacecraft is having an effect on our reality and the people it comes in contact with. And they are trying to stop this to make sure that this stuff doesn't fall in the wrong hands and catalog it and figure out what is the best way to either neutralize it or utilize it for the betterment of mankind. All while a shadowy organization is working against them.
Good old shadows.
This show is, the creator is J.H. Wyman. From some of those shows I told you, French, he was a producer for that. A little TV series that was on a while back called Almost Human with Carl Urban.
Ooh.
He was the producer on that.
So what is this show again? Remind us the title.
This show is called Debris.
Debris. What an interesting, first off, title. Super interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Your main actors in this is Jonathan Tucker. And he would be known from the movie Hostage with Bruce Willis, Ruins,
Sleepers, The Virgin Suicides.
He played as Major Craddock in Westworld. If you watch that at all.
Oh, yes. Interesting. Yes. You're right. Mm-hmm.
And then the other actress that is the agent, other side of his Scully, her Mulder.
Mulder versus Scully is Norbert Leo Butz.
Her name is Ryan Steele.
Rian Steele. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
You might know her from The Magicians.
Oh, Nick, nerd fact. Do you know a Catherine Starr from Marvel, aka Ant-Man? Yeah, she played Catherine Starr.
Yep.
In the 2018 Ant-Man and the Wasp. The sequel to Ant-Man. Ant-Man and the Wasp. She was in 2020 season of The Magicians. NCIS, crazy hit. She's done a lot of TV cameos and smaller roles in film. She was in Blacklist briefly in 2017. So interesting roles, but yeah, dude. Okay, so she plays the counterpart to Jonathan Tucker.
Correct.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, two agents. Okay.
She's the British agent. Jonathan Tucker is the American agent.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. They're not quite through the season yet. We are looking at far they have 8 episodes that have aired.
Okay, and looks like according to IMDb, and again, guys, you don't quote us on this. IMDb is about as reliable as Wikipedia, but more often than not, more reliable because people in the industry are the ones that update this. But it looks like we might see 13 episodes of this season. And you're correct. May 3rd was episode 10. That's the last recorded episode we're going to see. So we got 3 more episodes, possibly, before the end of the season. Or before the season wraps up, rather. Dude, I like super unique shows like that. I like forensic stuff. I like sci-fi and forensic stuff. So like I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, their little tag you see on all their ads for the show is every piece holds the power to change our world. Because
nice.
every piece is different.
Yeah, yeah.
Different thing they have to go through each episode.
I love that. Nick, what rating would you give this show?
Yeah, I would have to give this right around a 7 out of 10. It is a little bit slower for people that don't have the patience to deal with the slower TV series, but it's intriguing and it makes you think. And I like a good a movie that's very cerebral, and this definitely fits that niche of those cerebral thinking shows. Like what the heck's going on, has enough suspense to keep you wanting to know what's more, and the character development is great, and I can't wait to see what happens with the rest of these characters. I think this is one of those ones that if it makes it through the first season and goes into a second, that first season is going to be kind of building so you're understanding who the characters are, and season 2 should just take off in a stride and be awesome. I'm hoping that's what's going to happen, because that's what it feels like to me. But I would definitely give this a 7.5 out of 10, and would definitely recommend anybody to watch it if you like that genre.
Dude, I'm going to absolutely take that recommendation on board. It's interesting that it's an NBC original. So, God, there's so many services, dude. This is why we're here, though. We're here to, like, seek out these unique shows and, like, give people a reason to check them out, right?
Yep.
Dude, that being said, if you're good on the TV talk, I think now's the best time to transition into if you're ready for this gaming bits.
Or as you would say during our recordings for it, let's get to it.
No, that's only in the introduction to playthroughs, but here we go. Gaming bits. Guys, here's an interesting review that's not... I gotta preface this by saying it's not super topical. I get it. This came out over 2 years ago. 2018 is when this game was published. However, I want to bring light to anyone that is watching our podcast, anyone that's been a listener, is me and Nick and Matt and me and Nick and Matt and whoever else on of our hosts can join us for these series that we're putting out here. And maybe it's new to anyone chiming in now. But we're throwing this out there just so you guys know, like, aside from podcasting about pop culture and stuff, and aside from doing walkthroughs, co-ops, and gameplays, which all of us have enjoyed, love doing, and will continue to do, we recently launched over a year ago a series called Couch Co-op Catch-Up. And while that's been an enjoyable series to do, and we're going to continue doing that with classic couch co-op split screen video games like Halo, Gears of War, and the like, we've already done a bunch of those. We're also going to do something called, if I may, the backlog playlist. And the backlog playlist includes anything that was missed in the last couple of years, all the way up to classic arcade titles. NES, SNES, Sega, Dreamcast, PlayStation, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, original Xbox, Xbox 360, Xbox One, Nintendo 64. We're looking at a wide range of eras, titles, classics. So many have been remastered, remade, brought back through emulator or officially or otherwise. And something we want to do on this channel, in addition to covering what's new, is we want to go back and have fun with classics. And the term classic, Nick, is can be and is subjective to the person you're talking to and the era they grew up in. And so for us, classic might be 8-bit arcade. It might be Sega Genesis 16-bit. It might be the 64-bit era in the 1997 release of Nintendo 64. So the thing we're going to do going forward in celebration of this topic that we're going to review right now, Nick, is the Nerdentials is going to cover a wide range of older releases as well as keeping up with what's new. And part of our backlog is going to start with this particular title. Me and Nick wanted to review real quick and kind of shamelessly plug the fact that we did a 12-part series just last month where me and Nick, with an elevated level of hilarity, I think, upon rewatching, went through a very deep, drama-filled co-op game that was not old. This isn't something that came out 20 years ago. This is a game that came out less than 2 years ago from a company that felt a missing link in the couch co-op experience. I truly believe that, Nick. I believe that Haze Light Studios and everyone involved in that felt that there was something missing in the gaming community, and that was the couch co-op experience.
Yeah, Haze Light's known for this game and Two Brothers, if I remember correctly.
Thought to be an indie release at the time because no one knew who they were at the time, but that game on itself was award-winning, and it wasn't exactly driven by co-op per se, but it was driven by a very heavy narrative about two characters relying on each other to get through it.
Yep.
And the very next title they jumped into was the title we're going to talk about right now called A Way Out. Now, guys, A Way Out came out on March 23rd, 2018. 19, 20, 21. It's now, shockingly to say this, 2021. March has already come and gone as of the time of this recording. The game's already 3 years old. But over those 2 years, they already started working on the next couch co-op experience. And we'll talk about that in a minute. It's called It Takes Two. Something me and Nick are going to dive into soon. But to jump back to A Way Out, this thing, just to summarize, it's a prison break storyline. It requires literally a dynamic split-screen couch co-op, and it doesn't matter if you're playing locally on the same Xbox or like me and Nick, who played over Xbox Live completely. I sent a personal invite over Xbox Live. He joined in. The crazy thing about this, the thing that sets this apart from any other co-op experience, is the fact that this is the first time where it forces the split screen view no matter what, whether he's in the room with me or he is living, in this case, 3.5, 4 hours away from me, south in the same state, doesn't matter. He's in front of his TV and Xbox. I'm in front of my TV and Xbox. And we co-op this thing. And it doesn't matter how far apart we are. It's still like the Lego series. If anyone's ever played any Lego series, Star Wars Lego games, Marvel Lego games, DC Lego games, all of them are hugely popular. And something that's commonly, normal to them is a dynamic split screen. And even when you're on the same console with two controllers, if I'm playing and the closer I get to my partner, suddenly the split screen disappears, and then the further away we move, the split screen happens. So that already started being a thing prior to this, but something that this developer did that I've never seen before is completely take all the split screen focus and inject it into the narration, the story. Like, it didn't matter what you were doing or what I was doing, but it all depended on where the story was going and where the focus needed to be for the story. So if the focus was on me breaking through the concrete, chiseling the way behind that toilet, the camera shifted over to me. But the moment you were in trouble or you took on that responsibility to chisel your way out, the split screen shifted. It was a dynamic split screen, something I've never seen in co-op. And what made it even crazier is the fact that we're playing online. We're not in the same room, but I'm still able to see your split screen and you're still able to see mine. And I thought that was one of the biggest unique introductions to couch co-op over Xbox Live that I or anyone I think has ever seen. Nick, what's your take on that as we move forward through this review? I just want to get your hot take on the concept of this couch co-op and Xbox Live.
It was single-handedly the best multiplayer game I've ever played with someone. It was my favorite co-op experience I have ever had. And I could say this with any reservations that if you're going to play this game, I would recommend playing it with someone that you're close with, a good friend, family member, someone that is not only invested in the game, but invested in you so that you guys can have fun with it. It actually does make the character's development mean that much more to you. And the crazy twists and turns along the way.
Dude, like, I would like to make a couple more comments on the general review before we wrap up our rating. Aside from being a unique approach, I would also like to add in just the crazy variety of game mechanics that were experienced by us in a co-op setting. Mm-hmm. So the game is designed by default to be an over-the-shoulder, third-person action adventure. We've seen shooters do this, like The Division. We've seen like Gears of War, cover and fire. But the focus of this game was not about running and gunning. It wasn't about shooting everyone in sight. There was a lot of Splinter Cell style espionage, sneaking through cracks, crevices behind people. There was RPG elements where we're trying to persuade a character to help us out or talk to someone. There was multiple choice. There were scenes where we were in a side-scrolling fashion doing action buttons that felt very Mortal Kombat-ish. Teaser to a future podcast next week. But there was so much going on in this game. By and large, the overall concept was co-op, third-person perspective, over-the-shoulder drama. Essentially, I'm like, that was the majority of what it was, but it incorporated chase scenes, shooting scenes, espionage. There was so much that I can't think of a, Nick, you tell me, I can't think of a genre that this thing didn't cover in it as far as gameplay mechanics go. I can't think of something that it didn't cover.
No, there was puzzles, there was
Yeah.
RPG style elements, there was, like you said, shooters, there was driving pieces where you actually had to drive the vehicle to get away from stuff. You pretty much had to build a car at one point, but they made it so involving and
part of the story.
yeah, and so necessary for you to have to work with your friend to make it work. No, it was insane. I loved every second of this game, and I can't think of any time that I didn't enjoy what was going on screen.
Dude, like, it's not, I'll agree with you. I'll second that. Like, it's not the longest game any of us have ever played. And to be fair, I'd say, like, a good range would be, like, if you skip all the silly things and the side missions or even the side games, you can knock it out in under 6 hours with your friend. But you could go 10 plus hours if you, like, just literally dive into this and take your time with everything happening. There were mini games, everything was co-op. Everything was about you and your partner doing stuff together. That's what blew my mind, dude. And, not to get super deep or spoilery into this, but, like, the final mission, dude, without spoiling anything, like, we talk about it in our playthrough, like in the rolling credits in the final chapter, episode 12. Guys, go check it out on our YouTube channel if you want, like, to see the everything unfold. But, like, you and me, I've never seen such a dynamic co-op situation. And just to, like, not spoil anything, but just to explain a little bit, there was a situation in our story where both of us are trying to escape at the same time. And what I've never seen done in a video game, let alone a film. I can't name a single movie where I've seen a back and forth like this. I'm sure it's been done, but I can't think of a big, well-known popular title that compares to this type of back and forth, let alone a video game either, where me and him were doing this co-op split screen for almost the entire story, the entire game, like the 6+ hour investment me and him spent together. But in one of the final missions or final levels leading up to the crazy twist, and we'll leave it at that, there's a point where we're both literally trying to run and escape with our lives. And during this chase, during this crazy, only Quentin Tarantino could have pulled off this kind of transitions in action where at one moment it's focused on me and my character, so I'm taking control. And mind you, because it's split screen, Nick is seeing everything that I'm seeing. So when the game shifts to me, all Nick can see is what I'm doing, my character. And he just has to hope I get through this moment. And then there's another action moment where the camera shifts over and suddenly it's his character. I've never seen this happen, Nick. I've never seen a consistent split screen game, dynamic or not, where we always get a little bit of a scope of where both of us are.
Mm-hmm.
You can see both of us. And then the drama gets so intense that the game then pulls us off the rails and takes us onto a completely different roller coaster where part of the ride is just my perspective and part of the ride is just your perspective, and it's back and forth. Can you think of any movie or video game title where this even anything comes close to that?
No, I can't. I would say that I don't think it's ever been done. This was a very unique co-op experience that I think only these people will be able to pull off. I don't think anyone else can.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this game not only had cool features to it like this that we're talking about, it had an amazing story, and was an emotional roller coaster. And that dynamic camera that you're talking about,
the back and forth
was just as big as a character in the game as the characters we were playing.
And I'm not going to spoil it. I just want to tease with this before we finish off our rating. This story did something that I don't think film can ever pull off. And I think I can confidently say that because the storyline twist that happens in this game is only effective if you, as the viewer, get to be in complete control mentally and physically of said character. Meaning, the twist that happens in this particular game can only be experienced, in my opinion, and I think many would agree, can only be experienced when you and another human being who you're really close with, whether it be a brother or a best friend, only you and a best friend or you and a brother can sit through this game, play through it, see the twist that happens, and be impacted the same way. I don't think any film can pull off the same feeling that me and Nick got, and I think you agree with me, Nick, yeah?
Yeah.
There's not a single film or show that could recreate this for what any player who plays with a buddy or brother could experience. That is kind of like a crazy high bar to claim. That's a huge claim to make, but anyone that can sit down and play through this and see what that impact looks like, I think has to agree with that. I just don't think this is something that can be recreated. There's such amazing stories in the world, amazing books, amazing movies that move us to feeling. But I think this is a record-breaking first time a video game can lay claim to making this kind of emotional twist.
Yeah.
Like, you can talk about it in a review, you can read about it, you can write about it. It's not the same until you sit down and play the game with someone that matters to you and experience the twist that happens. And I'm going to leave it at that. I think both of us should leave it at that, dude. I want to encourage people to try this game because of that.
And the only other thing I got to say real quick before we give our rating is this game was an emotional roller coaster and covered the whole gambit of feelings. Everything from laughing to like, whoa,
humor, sadness, anger,
to points where I was actually physically crying.
Dude, I'm gonna tell the audience right now. I'm sorry. I'm sad we didn't get our face cams, but if they could just feel the silence we're going through in the last 5 minutes of that game, I think they would know that there were some tears shed there. And if they didn't know that, they know it now.
Yeah. No, it's an insanely gripping game that grabs you and refuses to let go till the credits roll. And even at that point, you're just flabbergasted about the emotional roller coaster you just went through in this whole game.
That's the thing that makes it unique, dude, is it's not a story you can just tell someone, go read this, and you'll be blown away. You'll be upset. It's an experience that you have to tell someone to go.
With those thoughts, I would definitely say this is one that people need to try. Where would you rate it, Joe?
Okay. Like, here's a good spot right here. Like, good Lord. Everything I said felt like I was claiming this was gold. And I'll stick with that still because, oh my God, dude. I've never played a game on the... let me separate something real quick just because artistically, creatively, audience specific, audience perspective and also professionally, I would have to say, like, we all understand this isn't like, wow, Unreal Engine next gen, whoo, popping my eyes out like photorealistic. But this game didn't need that. I think that's the biggest point I want to make, is that the graphical fidelity or prowess of this game did not and does not and or never has to be the focus of my rating on this. And I think me and Nick are on the same page with that. Like, it didn't matter how photorealistic this was. It was so well written, well crafted, mechanically, artistically, musically. You listen to the soundtrack as we're playing through this, the emotions that are played out. Like, this one of those rare occurrences where the craftsmanship outweighs any level of visual fidelity. Like, that is not the bar we're reaching here on this rating. For everything else in this game, graphics aside, because sometimes a game can win on purely on graphics, but I would say removing graphics entirely, and they're not that bad even, they're decent. But if you take into consideration story, music, emotional impact, game mechanics, everything else that wrapped me and a close friend into for a wild ride experience, I have to give this a 10 out of 10. A Way Out for Joe gets a 10 out of 10. I'll be shocked if I hear anything else, but be bold, sir. Nick, what is your rating? Be bold and honest. What's your rating?
My rating, 100%, would have to be a 10 out of 10. It was, like I said before, it is single-handedly the best co-op experience I've ever had.
Same, dude. Like, you take shooters, Halo, Fortnite, Team Fortress 2 for Steam users. You take all of those and you just take this experience and compare it to anything else. It was an insane, emotional, connective ride. It was unique and wonderful all at the same time. That's me. That's me. And I think Nick's on the same page with me on that.
I am.
So I think it's fair to say, even though the rest of our nerdy cohorts have not played through it yet, two nerd hosts who both got to physically be in the trenches with this thing, I think it's safe to say that Nerdentials as a whole gives A Way Out a 10 out of 10. Boom. Shocker? Hope not, because this is something everyone needs to check out.
Nerdified.
Woo! That being said, Nick, I think all I want to do is tease what we're about to do for our channel, and then just close out the podcast. I think it's a good spot. Yeah,
Sounds like a plan.
All right. So to tease what's about to happen is me and Nick. If you've been around on our channel, you've seen a 12-part series covering the game we just rated a 10 out of 10. So if you guys had any apprehensions, watch at least the first part. It's a solid 30-40 minutes. Watch our intro. If you don't want to watch the rest because you're like, I want to see it firsthand, at least watch episode 1. It's on our channel. It just came out 2 weeks ago. It's on there. All 12 episodes are on there. Would love the support if you watch all of them. But if you're new and curious, at least check out the first few minutes of part 1 and see what we're talking about. Check it out. That being said, me and Nick are about to dive into another co-op adventure on our channel. Among all the other playthroughs, walkthroughs, and podcasts, me and Nick are going to do another full, all the way through beginning to end co-op experience that seems to promise another unique adventure. And I'm hoping that as different as it is, that it does, and I hope it takes us for another emotional roller coaster like their last adventure. And in fact, the same developers that did A Way Out just came out a week or two ago with a title that's been 2 years in the works called It Takes Two. Now, yeah, I get it. It's playing on words. It's playing on the idea that this is a co-op adventure, and it promises to be drama-filled, adventure-filled, comical moments, and a deep adventure for you and a buddy. And me and Nick are going to take that challenge again and go through another co-op adventure by this same developer. Me and Nick, I think we're pretty excited, dude. And we're going to leave it at that. So stay tuned. This is going to wrap up our podcast, at least our variety show this week. I think this is episode 105, dude. I think we're at episode 105 now. As far as the podcast goes. We, as a teaser though, when we get a couple other hosts on board next week to record, we are going to cover some big films, some big TV. Whether it works out perfectly or not, I'm going to tease this. Kong versus Godzilla, and Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat. Man, 20, 30 years in the making on a lot of these things. We're going to cover two big films, HBO Max and Warner Brothers. Boom, boom. Then we're going to cover a recent Disney Plus series, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Full season review coming up, guys. And I'm just going to leave this to the wind of fate. Some more video game talk soon. That's right, guys. Next week, we got a full plate of topics to cover with all your favorite Nerdentials hosts, so stick around for that. Guys, that's going to do it for this week. We covered movie, film, and video games. Hope you guys enjoyed it. For myself and Nick, this has been your Nerdy Essentials. And as always, nerds, we'll see you on the other side.